Hey, I'm Samnang. This is SNJ Pride, the podcast where two gay men who've been together for over 11 years keep it all the way real about coming out, love, and everything in between.
And I'm James. If you've ever felt alone, stuck in the closet, or scared you'll never find real, healthy love, you're in the right place.
Today's episode is a little different. It's a confession I kept for years, and the letter I finally left on the kitchen table. It felt like the end of us for a while, but it didn't have to be.
If you're carrying a secret that could break your relationship, this episode is for you. I want you to hear one man's messy human attempt to tell the truth and the slow, practical work we used to rebuild what the secret almost took.
I kept a relationship in my past that I never told James about. Not because I thought it would change who I am, but because I feared what it would mean for the story we were building together. I told myself it was in the past. I told myself he would never understand. I told myself 100 small lies until the truth became a weight that made it hard to breathe.
Part of why I hid it was shame. Old shame about who I used to be, the mistakes I'd made, the teenage boy who loved the wrong person at the wrong time. Part of it was fear. Fear of losing James, fear of being judged, fear of ruining the safety we had. And the dumb, stubborn part of me hoped the secret could stay buried, unspoken, harmless.
The night I finally decided to write the letter, I sat at our kitchen table with a small lamp, a pen, and my hands that wouldn't stop shaking. I wrote because talking face to face felt impossible. My voice always caught, my chest tightened, and the words felt too sharp. The letter was how I could be exactly honest without collapsing in the middle of a sentence.
Hearing him say that for the first time, seeing the letter where he left it, I remember feeling like the floor had dropped out. I sat on the couch and the world narrowed down to paper and the two of us. I was angry. I was hurt. I was terrified. I also remember how brave that letter was. That mattered.
I walked into the living room and handed him the rest of the pages. The first words out of my mouth were useless. They were apologies that sounded like rehearsed lines. But then I stopped, and I let the silence do the work. James asked a few sharp, necessary questions. I answered. Sometimes I didn't have an answer for why I'd hidden things. Sometimes the truth made us both cry.
There were nights after that where we sat in silence more than we talked. I would say, "I hear you," because I needed to keep myself from saying things I'd regret. I needed to listen before my anger took over. What I learned in those first weeks was that listening is not the same as agreeing. It's a way to understand what happened and decide if we can rebuild.
Rebuilding didn't look dramatic. It looked like showing up. It looked like me answering questions honestly, even when it made me want to hide. It looked like walking to the couch at 11 p.m. when James couldn't sleep and offering to sit with him. It looked like transparency rituals we set. I left my phone on the counter for a while. I shared more of my schedule. I invited him to ask about any message or name that made him uneasy. These were small, boring acts that felt like stitches.
And part of repair was me owning how I reacted. I had to admit where I gaslit myself with thoughts like, if I forgive him, does that mean I'm weak? That was my ego talking. What mattered more was safety and trust. I had to balance my anger with curiosity. What do I need to feel safe again? What boundaries protect me? We made a list together. Therapy, check-ins, agreed transparency, and we kept to it. Consistency changed everything.
If you're listening and you're terrified to tell the truth, I see you. Here are 3 things I wish I'd known before I confessed. 1. Telling the truth is necessary but not sufficient. It's the start, not the finish. 2. Rebuild with small, consistent actions. 1,000 tiny repairs matter more than one big speech. 3. You can own what you did without defining your whole future by it. You are allowed to make amends and still be loved.
And if you're the one on the receiving end of truth, I want you to hear this. Your feelings are valid. You get to name the repair you need. You get to ask for boundaries. You get to take the time you need. Forgiveness is not a requirement. Healing is a process. Say what you need and expect clear actions, not just promises.
We are not saying secrets are always fixable. Some things break trust beyond repair, and staying is not always the brave choice. But for us, the work, the transparency, the therapy, the daily small acts, it brought us back to each other. It taught me how to be honest without fearing the result. It taught James how to trust my consistency instead of my words. And it taught both of us how fragile and how resilient love can be. If this episode brought up a lot for you, and it might, remember, we're not therapists. We're two men sharing what we lived. If you're in crisis, please reach out to a mental health professional, a trusted friend, or a crisis line in your country. You don't have to go through this alone.
If this hit home, hit subscribe. Tell us in the comments what part of this story landed for you. If you're not comfortable sharing details, just comment, "I hear you," so we know you're there. We read every note. We see you.
Thank you for being here. You are not alone. Take a breath. We're Samnang and James, and this is SNJ Pride. We'll see you next time.